Hello everybody and welcome back to the server. This is episode 4. Since last time we've gone on an adventure, done some work on the mega base, and generally worked on the client to try and get it to look a little bit better and hopefully make a better video for you. So first I wanted to go into the adventure that I went on, and to do that I'm actually going to do a dialogue, just kind of tell a story with it as a journal entry. So let's go ahead and go do that. And for that, I've actually set up a desk right here. And this desk is going to function as the work surface from which I'm going to do this. And we'll go ahead and take this book. And so let's go ahead and start writing this about this journey. I'd heard stories of the deep dark. Tales of adventurers exploring ancient cities, ruins overgrown with something they called skulk. I'd heard them speak of having to step cautiously, to move with nary a sound lest they wake the warden, the guardian of the deep. Despite the danger, many have ventured into the depths, some seeking treasure, others knowledge. For me, I am part of the latter, and so when Aiken invited me to join him on his next expedition into the ancient cities, I jumped at the chance. This would be my opportunity to learn. We began our adventure cautiously, taking seriously the need for silence. We spoke quietly, and only when we felt we couldn't be overheard by the skulk sensors. These sensors were everywhere, so we had to watch our step, though the danger they posed only existed in the presence of another entity that grows within the sprawling skulk. Those entities were called shriekers. If the sensors alerted the shriekers of our presence, they would emit a scream that would cause the warden to stir. The last entity that grew upon the skulk was the catalyst. It was this particular entity that I wanted to obtain a sample of, for with the catalyst one could grow the skulk and thereby obtain all the entities, some of which exhibit properties that proved to be very useful indeed. Within the depths we were also able to find chests filled with ancient treasures. Most of these are fairly common items, but some can only be found here, such as the Swift Sneak enchantment that has been very beneficial. Though I collected a few chests with some valuables, that wasn't why I was here. I made sure as I explored this ancient city to capture what I could safely gather of the entities, the sensors, the shriekers, and the catalysts. These, I was sure, would help me in my future endeavors. Despite our best efforts to avoid waking the ancient guardian, eventually it became necessary to make some noise to reach some of the treasures to be had. The warden is blind, and as it drew nearer, it caused the dark to grow deeper. The warden itself didn't wake so easily. It had slumbered so long that it took the shriekers a few tries to get it to finally come forth. But when it did, it didn't take much coaxing to cause me to want to flee to safety, though doing so with stealth was still key to remain hidden. Though the ancient guardian is blind, its hearing is excellent, and its sense of smell makes it impossible to hide forever. If you stay still, it won't hear you, but it will quickly begin to sniff around, and when it gets your scent, you had better be ready to run. Fortunately, with the stories I had heard, I never had to run far. I was able to escape to safe distances, and with my elytra it was even easier to reach safety in a hurry. Though this posed its own danger, as the darkness that the warden caused would linger for a time. Despite the danger and the curiosity that I had for this place, I found most of my time down here was spent admiring the beauty of it all. The fact that a lush cave grew alongside the city didn't help with the matter either. The lights and the colors fascinated me. The glow of the skulk was a thing to be admired, despite the danger that it hid beneath it. Then the glowberries and the surrounding caves further enticed the imagination. Who were the people that had built this place? I also found myself asking what the purpose of this place was. With the redstone lamps and the ancient devices below a mysterious portal frame, what had they discovered here, and where had they gone? For now, that would remain a secret to explore another day. Alright, and now we just need to give this book a title, so let's call it Adventure into... Oh, can I... Oh. Did I just sign it? I totally just signed it and I called it Adventure. Well, I guess that's the name of the book. So, yeah, there we go. We've got that done. Wrote about our adventure into the deep dark and learned that signing a book is actually really, really easy to do when you don't mean to. But that's okay. We'll keep this and we'll just keep it as a record of our adventure into the deep dark. And yeah. Other than that, we've done quite a bit with the base here. So what I'm going to do is actually first and foremost get this put away for safekeeping for later. Now, before we get into the build time lapse, one thing I did want to mention was, and I didn't put it in my journal, was what I actually enjoyed down there in the deep dark. The parts that I enjoyed the most was actually sneaking around, trying to get past the shriekers and the sensors, and really just loot the chests without triggering them. That was a lot of fun. It was challenging at times because you had to pay a lot of attention to what was going on. Use your blocks smartly to block the signals from transferring from the sensors to the shriekers, and just generally the challenge was good. And so long as if you were careful about it, you didn't have the warden chasing you at the same time. So that was great. A little less enjoyable was actually having to run from the warden on occasion, but it was still a lot of fun down there. So I definitely recommend it if you haven't been down there into the deep dark to look around. Just watch some videos on how it's done, how to get around safely, and try to adventure. Or if you're bold, you can just go running through, grab all the chests, and duck out really fast. But I thought it was a lot more fun trying to explore it stealthily. So definitely highly recommend that activity. So with that being said, let's go ahead and roll that time lapse, and we'll wrap things up after that. right, well, that was many, many hours over the last few weeks of work trying to get the base going. I'm sure now you all see that the shape of it is indeed a ship. We've got it up there in the air, and we've got plans to make it make sense up there. But for now, let's go ahead and take a closer look at it, more of a big picture, by flying around it. So we'll just take off from here and get going. And it really did boggle my mind as I was making this, that I could use a rocket to get from one side to the other to make it a lot faster in building. And I've never built something this big before, so this is quite the project for me. So we'll fly under while it's still daytime, and not terribly much to see here. We can kind of see some of the shape. If I get closer, it is dark. Hopefully I can get it lit up better in the future, make some points of interest. It was pointed out during the build that it's really dark in the shadow, so we took some sea pickles, threw those down there for some light. And then up here, I have more work to do on this front end that I have planned, and that will come along shortly. But just this part here is just seeing it, and having something here is just, it's wonderful to have. Seeing progress more than just, some structure to hold it. We've got actual progress here and a place where I can start working from. So I was able to create a building chess monster here. It's not out of control. It's just the current materials that I'm using. So mostly dark oak, and then whatever I've picked up, tearing out pieces that were part of the scaffolding as I was doing the project. So there is actually some more work I'd like to get done today in this video, and instead of doing a time lapse or anything, I'm just going to start I'll start by doing. Let's start that again. I will start by doing what I need to do, and then also just kind of talk you through what my plans are for this giant ship in the sky. So I am going to need an extra tool here. That was a rocket, and that's not my toolbox. I will get this. I'm organized, right? No, not really, but it'll work. I need. Oh, I already have it. I am paying so much attention to the things that I have going on right now. It's great. Anyway, so this ship, this mega base is going to be where I build a lot of. Hopefully, I can get to building a lot of interesting things, but it's also where I want to have like the farms that I'll need. So anything that I want to be growing or producing, stuff that I will need to continue to build the base, I really want that to go up there, as opposed to finding spots, here and there scattered around, like on the islands on the mainland, like over there where that portal is. So eventually I want to move those sheep. I'm going to want to have a chicken farm, I think, just for some very specific products. And then, of course, I'm constantly growing trees. These, I don't even know how many dark oaks I've cut down by now. It's a lot, but I'm constantly going through the logs, and it's amazing just how much material you need to build a base of this size. And it's not even pretty inside yet. This is just the outer skin, and that's what I've been working on is just the initial part. I'm not even to a spot where I would say it's really habitable yet, but I think I think we're at a point, and I think I know where I want this to go. So I'm going to move this island up into the base, and we'll replant the trees. And when we need a different type of tree, we'll just plant something different. Otherwise, I'll just replant the dark oak for now, because that's what we're using the most of. And there's still a section, at least one section, that's going to still be using up the dark oak. So we'll do that, and any extra materials we can use, somewhere else. But I do plan on keeping the what is it called? The podzol. Simply because I'll probably be growing some spruce again, so there's no point in me changing that. And if I wanted to grow some mushrooms, it's really convenient to have some of that, just to do that quickly, easily, make giant mushrooms, get those blocks, especially, since I'm prone to actually using those blocks in my builds. The starter home that I build was not the first one that I've done, so I like the block, I like the look of it, and I will continue to use it when it makes sense. And otherwise, I'm just gonna keep tearing down these for the moment, and I'll probably just skip ahead till when I've got all these down and materials collected, things cleaned up, and when I start placing blocks. So we'll go ahead and see you guys here again in a moment. All right, and I am back, and that little temporary island down there is gone. I was able to get it all within pretty much one shulker. I went ahead and put the wood with the rest of the wood that I had gathered here, and I'll get that sorted into the chest over yonder here probably a little bit later. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and start putting some blocks down, and if I can think at the same time, which is not very likely. Let's see, actually, I think I want to do these in 8x8s. So if I do that, and then count out another 7, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, that should actually give me what I'm looking for. And basically my initial thought is, one, two, and again. My initial thought is to break these out into chunks on each side and call that good, but I don't know how well that's going to work. Whether I want to have 8x8 chunks or this doesn't even look right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's because it's not right. Somehow I got really, really far off. Because I could have these evenly spaced in 8x8 sections, and if I do that, then I can just kind of divvy them up, put paths in between, do the lighting however I see fit, and see if that will work. So I guess what I can do is just kind of put it down, and I can always move it. At least the dirt moves really, really easy without a beacon, because my shovel will pop it up instantly. One thing I do want to make sure of, and I need my HUD on. I want to make sure that we're not creating dark spots where stuff is going to spawn. Technically, nothing can spawn there, I guess, but we're going to throw a light down there underneath anyway. And then we've got, this is set up to be 3 wide. So if I grab another podzol, and I go 1, 2, 3 and place there. 6, 7, 8. So what we got here is basically I could have one here, one here. I'm going to turn that off because that's, I keep using the wrong buttons. There we go. So I could end up with basically one there, and then copy the same on the other side and keep it symmetrical. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or I could just focus everything on one side. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm not sure exactly what I want to do right away. I suppose we'll just try and get stuff growing, and then we can see what it looks like. Figure it out from there. No. So the light level overlay, that comes from a mod called Mini HUD, and I've just got that set to a key pair binding so that I can just hit those when the overlay is running, and it will show me exactly what the light levels are, so that I know the whole ship is set to not be spawnable, which is definitely what I want to keep it at. I don't want to have a whole bunch of mobs up here, and especially I don't need any creepers coming around and trying to blow me up. That would not be so much fun for me. So let's see, how many spaces do I got now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could just push it all together and call that good too. It'd be about the same size as what it was down below. That would mean I need to pull this one back by 3, which I can do that. And just make it solid, and then we'll make this side one farm, and we'll make a different farm on the other side, and I can always move it later. Tree farms are pretty simple. One thing I'm going to have to do is knock that out, and yeah, that's what I thought. There we go. Make sure I don't create the wrong light levels, especially when I'm already up here working, because, there's only me and one other person on the server at the moment, so if I allow the light levels to drop over here, I'm going to get all the spawns for sure. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. That'll do. So I will go ahead and just finish this up, get the trees planted, and I'll probably call this video done with this part done, simply because I'm not sure what I'm going to work on next. I may have to go and just gather resources, and yeah, got lots of things that I'm thinking about, colors in particular. I think one of the blocks that I want to use is quartz to make some bright sections of the ship, the outer part of the ship in particular. But I could still change my mind. I was just trying to think of if I really wanted to stick with wood planking the whole way, as that same texture would then be throughout with just some different colors. And I don't know, it just seems like it might be too much of that texture. So I'm playing around with the ideas of different materials to use, plus some of the things that are going to go into the build are going to be for basically just trying to build story in it. And yeah, that's the current plan. So with that, I can turn that, wrong one, because I was pressing the wrong keys again. Okay, there we go. So with that, oh yeah, I love this shader. I found another YouTuber's video, and he talked about some of the configuration that he used. I'll see if I can find that, put it in the description, a link to his video, because the changes that he made really made the complementary shaders just even better than what they were. So this is the night sky that I've been admiring lately. And if I go ahead and make it day and not look at the Enderman while I'm doing that, you can see what the daytime looks like. Oh, there are monsters nearby. Ow. Ooh, I want that, actually. Ow, there's so many. Ooh, I got another trident. All right, that is fantastic. I actually was really hoping to get a second one so that I could... I've got one already that's set up with loyalty and... I forget what it was called. The ability to call down lightning during a storm. That I could probably pull it out, and that would be good. Let's see. Channeling. So I've got one with channeling already. I wanted to get another one so that I could set that one up with Riptide, so that I could have some fun with that. I've never actually been able to, in a survival world, get the Riptide Trident. So I think that ought to be a lot of fun to get that set up. So yeah, that's actually a really cool way of nearly wrapping things up. I forgot I was showing you the sky. And then hit my head. So, you know, if I look away from the sun, you can see the settings that he showed in his video made the sky really blue. So that looks really, really cool. And then I could probably make some adjustments to make the sun a little less intense, but I'm not worried about it at the moment. I kind of like some of it. And then down here, some of the settings he showcased made it so that it was a lot easier to see underwater. I think it made I've got another visitor. Just really made everything look really good. I liked most of his settings. There was one that I set, and then it was just like, oh, that's too much, and I think it had to do with block highlights, and it just to me it didn't work for me. So but that's personal preference. So yeah, that's kind of what we tried to do. Also installed from the last video, I noticed that the render distance just really made it hard to watch my build. So I installed Bobby and flew around here, and Bobby just loads up additional chunks beyond what is actually being rendered. So it loads it from what's stored in memory, or from what's saved on the hard drive, and just makes it so that when you look around, it looks like I can see a lot farther than what is currently set. And to me, that is just, it's great. It's a great way of being able to see what's around me, and really just not feel like I'm constantly just in this fog in my build. So I can see, you know, the sheep down there. I can see Baldy's base over there. I can see other bases that are being built all around me. Well, mostly over there, and there's some structures over there, and there's one over that direction too, which I'm not sure whose that is. But yeah, so all those mods and getting them configured right, just I think it's made everything look a whole lot better, and I hope you've been able to notice that too. And so with that, I'm going to say thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time.